What would you do if you saw someone pour boiling water on your disabled child just for playing in a community playground? My daughter Emma's scream still claws at my dreams, her agonized cry as scalding liquid soaked her clothes, searing her fragile skin. Worse was the smug curl of Beverly Carmichael's lips, savoring my child's pain. She had no clue who she'd crossed. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done? I am Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a trauma surgeon at Stanford Medical Center, and this is our story. 3 months ago, I landed a dream job in Stanford's elite trauma department, uprooting my 12-year-old daughter, Emma, to Oakwood Estates, a polished San Jose suburb. Emma's been partially paralyzed since a car crash 2 years ago, but her wheelchair doesn't define her. She's my beacon, resilient, kind, and fiercely optimistic, no matter what life hurls her way. That crash stole everything. It was supposed to be a joyful night. My husband, James, had just earned a promotion. We were driving home from dinner when a drunk driver blasted through a red light, smashing into our car's passenger side. James died instantly. Emma, strapped in behind him, suffered a severed spinal cord. I walked away with scratches and a crushing survivor's guilt. The months after blurred into funerals, hospital vigils, and rehab. I watched my once sprightly daughter grapple with never walking again. But Emma, with her father's unyielding spirit, looked at me one day, eyes blazing, and said, "Mom, I can't undo what happened, but I can choose what's next." At 10, she had more grit than most adults I'd met in my 15-year medical career. Oakwood Estates was our reset. A single-level home with wide doorways, perfect for Emma's wheelchair, plus top-tier schools and accessible amenities. The HOA fees stung, but I thought they'd buy safety and community. The realtor didn't. Warn me about Beverly Carmichael, the HOA president who wielded community standards like a weapon against anyone who didn't fit her pristine mold. Beverly, early 50s, had a razor-sharp blonde bob and a wardrobe of designer athleisure, always clutching a tumbler that, by noon, held more wine than water. She'd ruled the HOA for 6 years, not out of love, but fear. Her husband, a high-flying attorney, was a ghost, reportedly dodging her as much as his 80-hour work weeks allowed. Neighborhood whispers painted her as a tyrant, and we felt her wrath from day one. First, she targeted the ramp I built for Emma's access, calling it an eyesore, despite my approved paperwork. Then she griped about Emma's therapy gear in our backyard, citing vague rules. Each time, I jumped through her hoops, filed forms, and won approvals, only to fuel her irritation. "You know, Dr. Mitchell," she sneered during one of her unannounced inspections, her voice thick with disdain. "Most families here sacrifice for property values. Not everything's about accommodating one person." I brushed it off as elitism, not prejudice. As a surgeon, I'm used to prickly egos. But I didn't see how deep her bias ran until that sunny Saturday 3 weeks ago. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you're new, hit like and subscribe to join our community. Emma was having a great day, pain low, spirits high, eager to soak up the sunshine. I had case reports piling up, but couldn't keep her inside. The community playground, a short roll from our house, was buzzing with 2 kids Emma had bonded with, Tyler and Madison Williams, whose parents were among the few to welcome us. "I'll be fine, Mom," Emma said, her determined gaze echoing her father's. "I've got my emergency phone. It's 3 houses down, and Mrs. Williams is gardening nearby." I watched from our window as she glided down the sidewalk, her auburn hair catching the light. My brilliant, independent girl. I dove into a complex spinal trauma case, phone close, a habit born post-accident. 40 minutes later, screams shattered. My focus. Not just any screams, Emma's. The kind that ignites a mother's primal instinct, bypassing reason. I was out the door, case files spilling, before my mind caught up. What I saw is seared into my memory, sharper than any trauma I've faced in 15 years of emergency medicine. Emma hunched in her wheelchair, back and shoulders drenched, angry red skin blistering on her neck and arms, steam rising from her clothes as the scalding liquid ate deeper. Tyler and Madison stood frozen, ice pops dripping, faces pale. And there was Beverly, looming with an empty teapot, her expression a sick blend of disgust and triumph. Time slowed. My surgeon's training kicked in, wrestling my mother's fury. In the ER, we assess before acting. Seconds of clarity can save lives. But when it's your child, that detachment feels impossible. "Don't touch her!" I yelled at the kids, who were inching toward Emma, their faces twisted with worry. "Back up! Burns need careful handling." I sprinted to her, scanning. 2nd-degree burns, possibly 3rd in spots. The hot water had soaked her thin summer clothes, trapping heat against her skin. "Someone call 911!" I barked, my voice slipping into the calm, commanding tone my colleagues call my OR voice. Neighbors emerged, drawn by the chaos. Beverly stood rigid, teapot in hand, radiating indignation, not concern. "She wouldn't leave when I told them to," she declared, as if this justified everything. These kids were too loud, disrespecting my authority. Your daughter had the nerve to say this was a public space. I ignored her, focusing on Emma. "Baby, I'm here. Don't move. We need to cool these burns slowly." Her face twisted in agony, tears streaming, skin blistering. Red and white. At least 15% body surface area, my clinical brain calculated. Beverly kept talking, oblivious to the horror. "Your daughter doesn't belong in a normal playground. I've had complaints. Her presence makes parents uncomfortable. They're kids. Ask questions. This playground wasn't built for special needs." That's when Michael Barnes, our neighbor and a retired cop, rushed over, phone raised. "I saw it all," he said. "Been recording since she started harassing the kids. 911's on the way." I later learned Michael had clocked Beverly's confrontational stance from his office window, sensing trouble. I had no time to thank him. "Emma, sweetheart, we need to remove your shirt, but not where it's stuck. I need scissors." Pulling adhered clothing can rip healthy tissue. Michael bolted for his house. I poured cool, not cold, water from a nearby fountain onto non-sticking areas, avoiding tissue shock. Emma whimpered, trembling. Beverly scoffed, arms crossed. "You're overreacting. It was just hot tea. Maybe next time she'll listen when an adult says leave. These kids have yards. The playground doesn't need to be overrun by special situations." Her lip curled on the last words. I looked up, hands still working, the mother in me screaming to lunge, the surgeon demanding focus. "Beverly," I said, my voice a deadly calm born of reined-in rage. "You've just assaulted a minor with a weapon that can cause permanent disfigurement. These are 2nd-degree burns, possibly 3rd, over 15% of her body. The water was likely 180-degree conks, based on the burn patterns. As a trauma surgeon specializing in burns, I can tell you her epidermis is destroyed, the dermis damaged, possibly to the subcutaneous layer. She'll need debridement, maybe grafts, weeks of agony, and likely permanent scars." Beverly's smirk faltered, confusion creeping in. "You did this because kids were playing in a playground in daylight," I continued, each word sharp as a scalpel. "Did you know I'm a doctor? That I'd document these injuries for the police and criminal charges? Or that Michael was filming your deliberate attack on a disabled child?" Sirens wailed closer. Michael returned with scissors, and I carefully cut Emma's shirt, revealing raw, mottled burns across her shoulders and arm. Neighbors gaped in horror. Mrs. Williams arrived, shielding her kids while glaring at Beverly, who was edging away as reality hit. Paramedics rolled up. I identified myself, rattling off Emma's injuries. Rodriguez, a paramedic who knew me from treating his brother, nodded. "Dr. Mitchell, we've got this," he said, respect in his eyes. He paused. "Ride with us or follow?" "Ride," I said, then turned to Michael. "Send me that video." "Already done," he replied, eyes hard with cop-trained resolve. "I'll give a statement to police." As paramedics lifted Emma onto a stretcher, I saw Beverly slinking off. "Ma'am," an officer called, "stay right there." Beverly's desinsisted face soured, her privilege bristling. Do you know who I am? Beverly snapped, clutching her teapot. I'm the HOA president. These kids were a disturbance. I was enforcing community rules. The officer, a no-nonsense woman with steely eyes, didn't blink. HOA presidents don't enforce rules by scalding children. Put the teapot down, hands visible. Beverly sputtered, fear cracking her bravado. It was an accident. I tripped. Save it, the officer cut in, nodding to her partner. We have video that says otherwise. I didn't see what followed. I was in the ambulance with Emma, her pain surging as shock faded. Paramedics hooked up an IV for pain meds, but burns are brutal. Exposed nerves scream relentlessly. Mom, Emma rasped, wincing. Why did? She hate me. I wasn't doing anything wrong. My heart splintered. How do you explain raw bigotry to a child? Some people fear differences, sweetheart. It's her ignorance, not you. We were just playing tag, she murmured, grimacing, as the ambulance jolted. Tyler was making dinosaur noises, but we weren't loud. At the hospital, my colleagues mobilized instantly, recognizing Emma. Dr. Thomas Wilson, the ER director and a friend, met us, his face grim as he eyed her burns. Sarah, we've got her. Jackson's prepping the burn unit. Peterson's coming. Lenin, let us take over. Being the parent, not the doctor, was surreal. I'd treated countless burn victims, delivered grim prognoses, but nothing braced me for watching my child endure this, knowing every painful step ahead. Mom, don't leave, Emma begged as they wheeled her to treatment. Never, I vowed, gripping her hand. The next 48 hours blurred. Treatments, pain management, vigilant monitoring. Emma's burns were severe but wouldn't need grafts. A small mercy. Still, she faced grueling rehab, especially on her back. And shoulders, where old nerve damage from the crash amplified the trauma. Dr. Jackson, our burn expert, pulled me aside. Sarah, you know the physical path, but I'm worried about the psychological toll. An adult authority figure attacked her in a safe space. I nodded, exhaustion crashing. I've called Dr. Patel, the pediatric psychologist who helped her post-accident. She starts tomorrow. Emma's courage shone through. Even during agonizing dressing changes, she fretted about Tyler and Madison, who'd seen the attack. They were scared for you, I said, smoothing her hair. They're okay. Mrs. Williams brought them by with cards they made. Emma managed a faint smile. Beverly probably hates them now too. They should watch out. Her selflessness, despite her pain, nearly undid me. Beverly won't bother anyone for a while, I assured her. On day 2, with Emma resting under proper meds, Detective Rivera called. We've arrested Ms. Carmichael for assault with a deadly weapon and child endangerment, she said. Her tone laced with disgust. Barnes's video is airtight, and 3 witnesses stepped up. She claims it was an accident, but the footage shows intent, plus her comments about Emma not belonging. All recorded. Hate crime charges? I asked, voice tight. We're exploring it, Rivera confirmed. Her remarks targeted Emma's disability. Her husband's threatening to sue us for wrongful arrest. Typical lawyer noise. With this evidence, no judge will buy it. Word spread fast. While Emma was hospitalized, our home overflowed with cards, flowers, and casseroles from strangers. An emergency HOA meeting ousted Beverly unanimously. Her husband, conveniently on a business trip, or hiding in Tahoe per gossip, didn't show. Michael Barnes visited with his wife, bringing Emma books and a stuffed animal. The neighborhood's appalled, he said, as Emma flipped through a fantasy novel. We're petitioning to make all facilities truly inclusive, not just AD compliant, and proposing an HOA oversight committee to stop power abuses like hers. His wife Janet, a warm-eyed teacher, added, We chose Oakwood for its family. Vibe. Beverly's actions aren't us. Most were just too scared to challenge her. 4 days post-incident, Emma came home with a rigorous treatment plan. Our yard was a sea of welcome signs and a banner signed by dozens. Neighbors greeted us with meals and gentle hugs for Emma. Tyler and Madison handed her a glitter-drenched card, drawings from local kids inside, reading, "Our playground's not the same without you." Emma looked at me, eyes weary but resolute. "Mom, when I'm better, I want to talk to kids at school about standing up to bullies, even adults." My brave girl, bandaged but unbroken, already planning to help others. That night, after tucking Emma in, I collapsed on the bathroom floor, sobbing silently to shield her. The fear and fury I'd bottled for days poured out. As a doctor, I knew her body would heal. As a mother, I dreaded the emotional scars. Beverly's case moved fast. The DA had a slam dunk. Video, medical reports, witness statements. Her lawyer floated a plea deal. Lesser charges, no civil suit. "No," I told our attorney, a sharp hospital-recommended lawyer. "Full accountability." 2 weeks later, back at work part-time with a nurse aiding Emma, Dr. Wilson dropped by my office. "Beverly hit the ER last night. Panic attack." She was asking about Emma's burns, about treatments. Reality's hitting her. "Good," I said, unyielding. "She needs to feel the weight." Thomas smirked. "She also asked if you're really a trauma surgeon." Had no idea who she tangled with. I laughed, bitter. Would it have changed her target? "Fair point," he said. "By the way, the hospital board wants you to lead a new accessibility outreach program. It could help families like yours." The irony stung. Beverly's hate might spark real change. "I'll consider it," I said. As Emma healed, Beverly's reign unraveled. Neighbors, free from her shadow, shared tales of her tyranny, targeting minorities, harassing a gay couple, until they left. Her husband filed for divorce weeks after her arrest, their polished facade crumbling. Their house hit the market. A month later, Beverly stood in court, pleading guilty against her lawyer's advice, the evidence overwhelming. The judge didn't. Hold back. 3 years in prison, 5 years probation, mandatory counseling, and a 500-foot restraining order from Emma and our home. "Ms. Carmichael," he said, voice like iron, "your actions are egregious, targeting a disabled child with your authority. This court won't tolerate it." As she was led away, our eyes met. The haughty HOA queen was gone, replaced by a U-star haggard woman, roots showing, face bare. I felt no glee, just justice. Emma's physical scars faded faster than expected. Therapy and community support eased the emotional ones. The incident didn't break her. It forged her into an advocate. At 13, she spoke at schools about disability rights and facing bullies, her wisdom humbling adults. 6 months after moving to Oakwood, the community unveiled a revamped playground, designed with Emma's input. Wider ramps, smoother surfaces, adaptive swings, sensory areas. A plaque declared it an inclusive space where all children belong, a rebuke to Beverly's venom. At the ribbon cutting, Emma spoke, poised in her wheelchair, scars faint on her arms. "A playground should welcome every kid," she said, voice clear. "What happened was awful, but look what we built. A better place for everyone. That's how we fight hate, by creating something stronger." Reflecting, I still feel the gut punch of Emma's screams, but I'm proud of her purpose, validated by our fight for justice. Beverly thought she'd teach Emma her place. Instead, she learned a brutal truth. The quiet, single mom she targeted was a surgeon who knew how to nail her crimes, and a community will rally for its vulnerable when tested. I've learned doctoring and mothering demand the same: quick thinking, fierce advocacy, and healing what's broken, body or community. If you cheer for justice and love, seeing HOA tyrants fall, like this video and subscribe to HOA Revenge. We drop gripping real-life dramas daily. You won't want to miss them. Your support fuels us,